Starting with the great name of Allah, the most merciful and benevolent. Today we will start part 2, that are heroes, and lesson number 11, that is first year at Harrow, written by Sir Winston S. Churchill. Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was a British politician, army officer, and writer. He was Prime Minister of United Kingdom of England from 1940 to 1945 and again from 1951 to 1955. He wrote a number of books like M.A. History of the English-speaking peoples in 4 volumes. He is considered a great prose writer of this century. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953. In first year at Harrow, he relates his experiences at the famous public school Harrow. Churchill never liked examinations because examinations were always a great trial to him. Now let's read the text first and then I will explain the story. I had scarcely passed my 12th birthday when I entered the inhospitable, unfriendly regions of examination through which, for the next 7 years, I was destined to journey. These examinations were a great trial to me. The subjects which were dearest to the examiners were almost invariably means always those I fancied least. Fancied mean liked. I would have liked to have been examined in history, poetry, and writing essays. The examiners, on the other hand, were partial to Latin and mathematics. Their will prevailed. Moreover, the questions which they asked on both these subjects were almost invariably those to which I was unable to suggest a satisfactory answer. I should have liked to be asked to say that or what I knew. They always tried to ask what I did not know. When I would have willingly displayed means showed my knowledge. They sought means tried. They sought to expose my ignorance. This sort of treatment had only one result. I did not do well in the examination. This was especially true of my entrance examination to Harrow. The headmaster, Mr. Weldon, however, took a broad-minded view of my Latin prose. He showed discernment in judging my general ability. Discernment means ability to distinguish or understanding. This was the more remarkable because I was found unable to answer a single question in the Latin paper. I wrote my name at the top of the paper or at the top of the page. I wrote down the number of questions. After much reflection means thinking, I put a bracket round it thus, but thereafter I could not think of anything connected with it that was either relevant or true. Incidentally, there arrived from nowhere in particular a blot and several smudges. I gazed for 2 whole hours at this sad spectacle. And then merciful ushers mean doorkeepers, collected my piece of foolscap with all the others and carried it up to the headmaster's table. It was from these slender mean thin, small, indications of scholarship that Mr. Weldon drew the conclusion that I was worthy to pass into Harrow. It is very much to his credit. It showed that he was a man capable of looking beneath the surface of things. Beneath mean under. A man not dependent upon paper manifestations. Manifestations mean explanations or indications. I have always had the greatest regard for him. Regard mean concern. In consequence of his decision, I was in due course placed in the 3rd or lowest division of the 4th or bottom. The name of the new boys were printed in the school list in alphabetical order, and as my correct name, Spencer Churchill, began with an S, I gained no more advantage from the alphabet than from the wider sphere of the letters. I was in fact only 2 from the bottom of the whole school, and these 2, I regret to say, disappeared. Disappeared mean vanished almost immediately through illness or some other cause. I continued in this unpretentious means simple, plain situation for nearly a year. However, by being so long in the lowest form, I gained an immense advantage over the cleverer boys. They all went on to learn Latin and Greek and splendid things like that, but I was taught English. We were considered such dunces that we could learn only English. Mr. Somervell, a most delightful man to whom my debt is great, was charged with the duty of teaching the stupidest boys the most disregarded thing, namely to write mere English. He knew how to do it. He taught it as no one else has ever taught it. Not only did we learn English parsing thoroughly, but we also practiced continually English analysis. Mr. Somervell had a system of his own. He took a fairly long sentence and broke it up into its components by means of black, red, blue, and green inks. Subject, verb, object, relative clauses, conditional clauses, conjunctive and disjunctive clauses. Each had its color and its bracket. It was a kind of drill. We did it almost daily. Drill means practice. As I remained in the three times as long as anyone else, I had three times as much of it. I learned it thoroughly, thus I got into my bones the essential means important structure of the ordinary British sentence, which is a noble thing, and when in after years my schoolfellows who had won prizes and distinction for writing such beautiful Latin poetry and pithy Greek epigrams had to come down again to common English to earn their living or make their way. I did not feel myself at any disadvantage. Naturally, I am biased in favor of boys learning English. I would make them all learn English and then I would let the clever ones learn Latin as an honor and Greek as a treat. But the only thing I would whip them for is not knowing English. I would whip them hard for that. So basically, in this story, we come to know that Churchill never liked examinations because examinations were a great trial to him. He would have liked to have been examined in history, poetry, and writing essays, but the examiners had a task for Latin and mathematics. Moreover, the questions which they asked on both these subjects were those which he did not know. So he couldn't produce a satisfactory answer to their questions. Therefore, he did not do well in the examinations. This was especially true of his entrance examination at Harrow. He could not answer even a single question in the paper. He wrote his name at the top of the page and then he wrote number of the question. After much thought, he put a bracket around it. After that, he could not do nothing except making his paper dirty. So, but the headmaster, Mr. Weldon, he was a broad-minded person, so he also took broad-minded view and he was admitted to Harrow. As a result of his poor performance, he was placed in the lowest form. However, by remaining for full 1 year in the lowest form, he gained great advantage over the clever boys. So they all went to learn Latin and Greek, but he was taught English. So Mr. Somervell, a very delightful man, was his teacher. He taught English so well that he learned it thoroughly. Thoroughly means completely. So he learned English completely, each and everything, rules and regulations. So English proved a great blessing for him in his later years. Those who had won prizes in Latin and Greek had to come down again to common English to earn their living. Although Latin and Greek languages were considered very important, but when it comes to job, they had to come down and again they had to learn English. Naturally, he was in favor of boys learning English. He would make them all learn English and he would let the clever boys learn Latin as an honor and Greek for pleasure. But he would whip them hard if they did not learn. He would whip them hard if they did not learn English. So that's all. The author in the end worked hard and got good grades in English. His English teacher, Mr. Somervell, also taught him English thoroughly in an effective way. So, in this way, he had a long term advantage over the clever boys. Starting with the great name of Allah, the most merciful and benevolent.